Corellan, can you hear me? I am Jan Rodericks, and I'm witnessing the end of the Earth. Why me? What are my credentials for this? I have to talk to you, Corellan. Even if you can no longer hear me, I can't sit here in silence. Right. My father was a magician, a stage conjurer. My mother used to say that she married him because he made the world strange to her. She was born in Haiti and never grew used to the winds and the Scottish rain that cut through the hills and streets of Edinburgh. I was born in that great northern city where light and dark, science and magic command equal respect. I feel, in some ways, that it prepared me for this as much as anything can. I'm recording the end of the world for the benefit of history. I have to remember that there will still be a history, if not a human one.
The European Defense Minister has announced that troops from the European Federation are ready to move into the Islamic League of North African States, should civil order continue to break down. Floods are forcing the West to intervene as the Russian army continues to mobilize on the border. The Russian government claims the troop movements are simply maneuvers, but satellite pictures...
The American spy satellites confirmed that the Russian army is massing. Secretary General...
I want to speak to the UN High Commissioner for Refugees.
I'll get her on the phone.
No, wait.
Secretary General, are you all right?
The world's erupting, Katerina. All my life, I've been a diplomat. It seemed to me to be an honorable profession, keeping conflict at bay. But to keep the faith, you must believe in human beings. I am losing my faith.
Excuse me. Yes? A what? Yes. Secretary General.
What is it?
It's NASA on the line.
Oh.
Astronomers at the Royal Observatory have announced that they are tracking a large object which has entered the solar system and is apparently on a heading for Earth. The object is estimated to be at least 50...
We are not looking at a piece of space debris here. It's not an asteroid. Its course is centered directly on Earth. I honestly believe that we could be looking at mankind's first contact with another race of beings.
Theologen und Wissenschaftler, die ich haben über diese
Theologians and scientists, such as myself, have debated this question for many years and have come to the conclusion that another life form does not negate the existence of God.
The Russian government claims the troop movements are simply maneuvers.
And they will find it difficult to integrate this discovery into their religious life.
I can give you no comfort. Last night I had a dream of a pale horse and a rider whose face was hidden from me. There was a high wind and the cold cut deep into the bone. And the sun did not rise, for there was no tomorrow, and all the comforts of love were...
This tiny church, St. Anthony's in the Valley in the middle of Wales, has become a magnet for many people in recent days. They believe that the aliens will manifest themselves here, heralding the end of the world.
A huge number of people have gathered here at Stonehenge, where more than one person has felt drawn by what they describe as the psychic energy of the site. Excuse me, how do you feel about the approach of this alien craft?
I'm really sure that this is the beginning of a golden age for human beings. It's even in the Bible. Ezekiel was abducted by a UFO, and they're coming back now, but they've been here before. They're coming to save us from ourselves.
Corellan, I don't know how long your recording equipment will last. One of the monitors has already shut down. The final chapter. File under humans, the last 100 years. No story can be told in a single voice. It's my fate to chronicle the end, But I wasn't born when your ships first arrived in our skies, almost 100 years ago. You weren't known then as the Overlords. That name was given to you when you began to establish your dominion over humans, when your ship hung in the night sky, a great disk like a new moon. One of the monitors is showing me a new chain of volcanoes being born in the mid-Atlantic. My God, this is so beautiful. It can't be long. I have no time to edit my thoughts, no time to get anything in order. And your ship in our skies. Yes, I suppose that's where the story begins, with your arrival, Clarke. No, but there were other beginnings before you came. Perhaps Katerina is the real beginning. Katerina Golyapkin, 10 years old, from Archangel on Russia's White Sea coast.
Крест. Следующий. Круг. Следующий.
Крест.
Следующий.
Квадрат.
Next. Следующий.
Circle.
Do you see these pictures in your mind?
In your mind?
In my mind?
Yes.
In my mind. Memo from Dr. Valentina Ivanovna to Professor Alexander Koznishev. Subject 0 scores nearly 100% in tests under controlled conditions. I think she would have a perfect score if she concentrated more, but the girl becomes distracted and tired towards the end of the sessions. I cannot stress too highly the necessity of urgency and military response to my work. We are not the only workers in this field, and others may be as close as we are to break through.
Katerina's parents must have been afraid for their daughter, because they removed her from the doctors and scientists. Secretly, they fled with her to America. She lost her powers as she grew older. Were her parents thankful? Corellan, was Katerina the first, but too early? Katerina still had a life to look forward to. I've seen photographs of her. She grew into a very normal young woman. Maybe her gift for languages was a remnant of the powers she once had. Did you meet her, Corellan, when she was personal assistant to Secretary General Stormgren, the man who became your friend, Corellan? The first man to hear an alien voice.
A small craft has detached itself from the alien ship, now in stationary orbit. The craft has come to rest at JFK Airport. After world leaders could not agree on precedents in making contact with the aliens, the UN finally delegated Secretary General Ricky Stormgren to approach the craft on behalf of the world community.
So beautiful.
Can you see a way into it?
No. Do you think there's a pilot in it?
Well, I hope they give us some sign. You think they want me to go in there?
I think so.
Well, here I go.
Secretary General.
Yes?
I was going to say, be careful.
I appreciate your concern, Katerina. But whatever happens now is up to them. We are all in their hands now. Hello? You want to speak with me? The people of Earth are concerned to know who you are.
Do not be afraid. We come in peace and offer friendship.
We do not seek conflict. We welcome it.
There will be those who do not. But we too do not seek conflict. I am Corellan. I command this mission. My title translates as supervisor.
Can you tell us where you are from?
It is too soon for this information. Besides, it would mean very little to you.
Can you tell us what your mission is?
It is too soon for this information.
May I see you?
It is too soon.
So many secrets.
Trust me.
I would like to trust you.
You and I shall speak many times, Secretary General. We must work through your organization. A new order must be established. Your world is in chaos. You do not fully realize how precious you humans are.
A new world order. What does that mean?
An end to the conflicts that beset your species.
I have spent my life working towards the same end.
All weapons, including personal weapons, will be destroyed. There will be no further need of them. The manufacture of certain chemical agents will not be permitted. Man will have no dominion over the animals with which you share the planet. As living species, they shall be respected. We shall provide you with food production technologies which will satisfy your requirements. We offer you new technologies for your transport system. More detailed provisions shall be made later. You shall announce these terms to the United Nations Supreme Council.
A new age for mankind.
Your species shall be free to do as it pleases beyond the general terms we set.
To make human beings do anything in their own best interest, they must be motivated.
I see that you are trying to teach me something about your species. But self-destruction is something we do not comprehend.
Then your task may be more difficult than you imagine.
Karelin! Karelin, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jan Rodriguez. For a little while, we shall be able to speak.
Just to hear another voice is good, even if the
voice is not human. What do you see?
Everywhere. The monitors show me the Earth in convulsion.
They are drawing energy from your planet.
How long do I have left?
Impossible to say. Until the great change is complete.
All this began with Katerina.
There were others. There always have been. But always the powers waned as the children grew to adulthood.
You knew how dangerous it was, the power. It's why you came.
It is why we came.
Humanity learned so much from you. But did you learn from us, too? Did you ever really understand us?
There is always mystery.
Did you understand why there was resistance to you? Your superior technology banished poverty, almost all disease, war. You offered mankind utopia, and most were only too willing to accept. But did you understand in the early days why some refused?
We were mistrusted.
And some were too fearful. Some had never sought utopia, and saw in it the end of humanity.
Wainwright's going to speak now.
The last of the great demagogues.
How much support can he really count on, do you think?
It's surprising how often one hears at dinner parties one's fellow guests expressing support for the Freedom League.
I'm surprised that Karelin allowed it to exist.
What can he do? It is difficult to tell with Karelin, reading the nuances of a disembodied voice. But sometimes I think I catch a note of exasperation when he sees the ingratitude of humanity. The future will see man's full potential realized, free from petty disputes and cruelties. I thank God I've lived to see this, Katerina.
Why do you think Karelin won't appear in person?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you ever wonder what they look like? I picture them like angels. Is that ridiculous?
No more ridiculous than any other theory.
I don't mean that they are soft and gentle and fly around in those long, silly shirts. I mean powerful, like the angels out of William Blake with swords of fire, the servants of God.
The servants of God?
I'm being silly, aren't I?
No, not at all. Maybe you're right, Katerina. Perhaps the Overlords are our guardian angels.
Behind me, in that building, traitors collude with the Overlords to impose their alien dictatorship. The Overlords have come, they say, to save us from ourselves. We cannot deny what they have brought us, how they've changed our lives, how they've revolutionized medicine. No one starves. Nations no longer go to war. But there is a price to be paid. To be human is to struggle. Conflict is central to our destiny. To remove conflict from human life is to demean us. Not even God has sought to do so. We are fighting for the right to be human. Let the struggle continue!
Why do people listen to this Wainwright?
He sees himself as a kind of Old Testament prophet. His quasi-religious rantings speak to something irrational in some people.
Many support the Freedom League.
You and your people are cloaked in secrecy. That doesn't help matters.
We have not won your trust.
I trust you, but others...
Why do you, Ricky?
You could have destroyed us by now.
Yes.
Karelin, you must understand that the whole basis for Wainwright's support is fear. If you would show yourself, tell us why you are here.
It is too soon.
Then it is you who do not trust us. It's difficult communicating with a disembodied voice.
I acknowledge your curiosity. I will have some news for you when we next meet.
We're ready.
Everything's in place.
We're preparing the mine shaft. No more. Reverend, you only have to say the word. What you do will not be done in the name of the Freedom League. I shall be asked many questions. The lie is a difficult thing to maintain. Better that I know as little as possible. Better that I know nothing of your activities.
We understand.
Do what you must, but do it in your own name. I shall never see you again. Future generations may vilify you or revere you, as the struggle is lost or won. Those with eyes to see will understand. Those who are blind will attack you. Remember that what you do in the name of free humanity.
I feel blessed.
Yes, when I think of the small minds who want to vilify him.
A number of small explosive devices have gone off around the world at United Nations offices. There were no fatalities, but several UN officers have been badly injured.
The authorities are taking the situation seriously and fear this may be the beginning of a concerted campaign by those opposed to the Overlords' world order. Supervisor Corellan has so far made no response. Llewellyn Wainwright was asked if these devices were the work of the Freedom League.
Who knows who planted these devices?
You condemn these bombings!
I condemn the dictatorship of the Overlords. I condemn the occupation of my planet by an alien species. A free people will resist.
The UN High Commissioner charged with overseeing the decommissioning of nuclear weapons has been severely injured in today's blast. Is your organization opposed to nuclear disarmament?
When will you people understand? Humanity has lived with the nuclear threat for generations. In living with it, we have made moral choices. And we have not destroyed ourselves. Now, the Overlords insist that we remove these weapons as if we can remove darkness from the human heart. It cannot be done. Humanity makes moral choices because we face that darkness. And we are human because we make those choices. If choice is taken away from us, we are rendered children again. Children are not moral beings. Better the slaves of our passions than the slaves of the Overlords. Now, if you will excuse me.
Mr. Wainwright! Do you think you're going to work for taking things alive?
แห่งสหภาพแปซิฟิกริมครั้งนี้เรียกได้ว่าเป็นการประชุมครั้งประวัติศาสตร์ประเหตุการณ์ทั้ง
Recientes eventos han demostrado que los asuntos particulares de nuestras naciones no tienen lugar en el futuro del Estado mundial.
N'aura plus d'intérêt dans l'état mondial de l'avenir, que nous allons construire avec l'aide de nos associés,
the Overlords.
les extraterrestres.
As President of the Union of the Pacific Rim, I shall propose that we vote here to dissolve this assembly, looking forward to a future where the causes of friction between nations become a thing of the past.
A massive explosion rocked the assembly of the Union of the Pacific Rim today, killing the president and 37 delegates. Llewellyn Wainwright, head of the Freedom League, has been arrested and, in a statement from his prison cell in San Diego, said that he expected the...
I may be in prison on the orders of the dictator Overlords, but the organization which I lead continues the struggle to maintain the independence of the human race. It is humanity which must determine its own destiny. It is not for another race of beings, no matter how advanced, to interfere. That is all I have to say. Let the struggle continue.
Wainwright has requested that you go and see him. He wants to talk to you.
What could Wainwright possibly have to say to me?
The prisoner governor conveyed the request earlier today. Will you go?
You think I could persuade him to repudiate his organization's violence?
I don't think you could persuade a man like Wainwright of anything.
No, you're probably right. It's only vanity to think otherwise. But I'm curious as to what he wants to talk to me about.
Maximum security. Yet I've never hurt anyone or anything in my life.
The Freedom League has murdered several people.
The refuseniks, not the Freedom League. Thank you for coming, Secretary General.
The refuseniks are closely allied to the Freedom League. Please do not insult my intelligence. If you told them to stop their killings, they would.
People always credit me with more power than I have. I should be flattered.
What would it take to stop the violence?
That is why I asked to see you. I have a proposal. You know the Overlords.
I have only spoken with Corellan.
Is it your opinion that they are open to negotiation?
Beyond the general principles, Karelen has assured me that there shall be no restriction on human freedoms.
That is like saying beyond the ball and chain, a prisoner may go about his life as he chooses.
Freedom from destruction and cruelty cannot be portrayed as a prison.
I want you to ask Karelen this. Why cannot part of the earth be set aside from overlord rule? For free men and women to go about their lives not subject to the general principles.
And what kind of lives would they live on this reservation?
That is not for you or I to decide.
Free to practice the same cruelties that man has always done. To prey on each other, perpetuate mindless atrocities.
If that is what they choose, so be it. But I am not suggesting that this free state will have no law. It will simply be outside overlord control. Those who wish to live under the overlord dominion are equally free to do so, but they will wither, become weak, without the need to struggle.
Or they will develop in ways we cannot imagine. Freed from this need to be ever contending with disease and poverty and endless conflicts. Those are the things that hold mankind back. Not ease, not contentment.
When the overlords came, I began to have dreams. In my dreams, I saw that they brought death. At that time, I imagined they would simply destroy us. The same fears that many people had. But I asked myself, why would God, the God I had always believed in, allow his children to be destroyed? I was in a pit of darkness. Then Karelen spoke to you, and what comfort it was that he talked of peace. And those who had listened to me turned from me and mocked me, saying that I had been wrong to make them fear the overlords. But I could not forget my dreams. I knew that God had spoken to me. Then I perceived his message, and all was clear. I saw that life spent in the ease and contentment that the overlords promise is death. Conflict and struggle are life. And I knew that God had thrown me into a pit of darkness and confusion to show me that cruelty and terror and the struggle to overcome those demons are what makes us human. God will not allow us to die, but we must resist. In the resistance, we show ourselves to be his children. In acquiescing to the overlords, we lose our souls.
Tortured logic. You have chosen unreason.
No. I have chosen freedom.
I cannot agree to this.
I've been thinking over his proposal. Would it be so impossible to allow a group of humans to live as they please, outside the general principles?
We do not seek to control you. Under the new order, you may continue to run your social and political systems as you please. Wainwright's free state would be a threat to the rest of the world, a haven for chaotic forces.
I understand your position, and I agree with it. But perhaps if I could enter a period of negotiations with Wainwright.
There comes a time when talking must cease, for there is no more to be gained. To enter into negotiations with Wainwright is to lend acceptability to his position.
I shall convey your words to him.
A sea of fire is moving across the Pacific. They're taking all the energy from the Earth. It's feeding them. Roman, I feel so alone. How can I be the last human? What kind of fate is that? I'm watching the end of my planet. How did this happen? I'm frightened, Corellis. I'm frightened.
I can offer you no comfort, human.
Then say nothing! What good's a voice in the darkness if you can offer me no comfort?
I have a few more papers here. Secretary General.
No more work tonight, Katerina. Come for a walk with me.
It's good to be out of the city. I have grown used to cities, but I don't like them. The lake here reminds me of my home in Finland. I was born in the far north. My father was a surveyor in the army. He was stationed there, drawing up new maps. My mother was Swedish. She only stayed there a couple of years before going home to Stockholm. She could not bear the loneliness. My father brought me up. He taught me how to survive in the Arctic. A strange training for a diplomat, but useful. You learn to be alone. There are no sides to be taken up there. I like America. But when I retire, I shall go home. No one should die far from home.
You're thinking about retiring?
Of course. I'm 60. I have spent my whole life as a diplomat. I want a little time for myself before I die. I am sorry. It depresses the young to talk of such things.
You are the single most important man alive. It is through you that Corellin works.
If not me, it would be someone else. Besides, I hate all that stuff in the papers about being the father of the New World Order.
Oh, that's how people see you.
I have never been a father. Never wanted to. Too much responsibility.
How can you say that? You are the Secretary General.
Oh, that's a different kind of responsibility. It's abstract. I was never good when it came to the personal. That's why I never married.
You know, you must have been born just across the White Sea from Archangel. That's where I grew up. I don't remember much about it. My father worked in the naval dockyards. I always imagined Finland to be a magical place. I saw Lapsworth in the streets of Archangel driving a herd of reindeer.
Oh, there's still to that. The New World Order will mean very little to them. If you could read my mind, what do you think you would see? Forget I asked that question.
I see a man who suffers the loneliness of office. I don't think of you as the papers do. I don't think of you as a father figure to humanity. Just as a man.
Is there someone in your life?
A man? No.
There will be. You will meet some young man and marry him and have children.
Actually, I have always preferred older men.
Katerina, working with you has been... I
know. I feel it too.
I am nearly 40 years older than you. Don't let anyone ever tell you that wisdom and age go together. I should be able to accept my place in the scheme of things. I've had a wonderful life. Met wonderful people. Had what no other human being has ever had. The chance to encounter an alien mind. To establish a friendship with a being from across the galaxy. To see the beginning of an age of peace and progress for the human race. Yet, here I am, still wanting more. I am greedy.
What more is it that you want?
You are too young, Katerina. Each generation has its time, then it must give way to the future. I must go to my lake in Finland and fish. That's my small destiny.
Hurry! Get him into the van! What about the girl? Bring her too! Come on! Come on!
Where are we?
I don't know. An old mine shaft, I think.
Will they kill us?
If that was their intention, they would have done so by now. Katerina, I'm so sorry. You are here because of me. If I hadn't asked you to come to the house for the weekend...
I wanted to come.
I didn't ask you there to work. I am a selfish old man. I wanted to be with you, Katerina. I have allowed myself to fall in love with you.
Secretary General,
I am sorry.
I have always loved you. Before I became your assistant, I admired you, but working beside you, I have come to love you.
I am an old man.
You are a great man. If you go home to your lake in Finland, I want to come with you.
It would be a prison for you there.
Compared to here?
What do you two have to laugh about? Nothing you would understand. Bring the girl.
Right. For God's sake, be happy for her, Secretary General. She's being released.
John Rodri. John Rodri.
Yes. Still here.
Monitor still functioning.
Yes.
What do you see?
My father sawing my mother in half. He used to do it for the children at birthday parties. For me and my sister Maya. My mother played his assistant. It was always a relief when she reappeared complete. It was the only trick he revealed to her. He would never reveal the secrets of his tricks to us children. Life must have some mystery, he said. I hated mystery. I always had to know. And where that got me. For my last trick, I shall make the Earth disappear.
It is clear that Karelen and the Overlords will not listen, proving, if proof were needed, that they do not understand human needs and aspirations. They seek only their own ends. I regret that you have been inconvenienced.
Inconvenienced?
Freeing you is a token of our good faith.
If you hurt the Secretary General in any way...
I don't want to hurt him.
This won't help your cause. The Overlords will not change their minds.
They must eventually listen to the people of this planet.
Kidnapping him will not make them reconsider. They will consider the actions of your organization irrational.
Good. It is the Overlord's inability to understand human irrationality that is at the heart of the problem. Perhaps this will teach them something.
What arrogance to believe that you can take on the Overlords.
You are young. One of the idealists who work for the UN. You have a great faith in human progress. But progress is an illusion. You think because we prevent war that human beings do not need conflict anymore. Struggle is constant. War is our heritage. The Overlords want to remove conflict from the human world. That spells death.
Who are you to speak for humanity?
I did not seek to become leader of the Freedom League. I was chosen. Followers came to me.
Oh, megalomaniacs often affect humility.
I can live without your approbation, young woman.
What is it? What's wrong?
Mr. Wainwright, I am Supervisor Karelen. Your pain will continue until you reveal the whereabouts of the Secretary General. You will suffer no long-term effects, but be in no doubt I am determined to secure his release. We have watched you for a long time, Mr. Wainwright. The Freedom League and the Refuseniks will be crushed. Now, please, tell us where the Secretary General is being held.
Where am I now?
You don't have to know that.
Oh. Throughout history, people like you have used violence. And history shows that terrorism fails.
First, you cannot dismiss the refusalists by calling us terrorists. Second, your history is poor, Secretary General. History is written by the so-called terrorists who win. Third, I do not intend to engage you in debate. Eat. What's going on?
They found him! Give yourselves off! It's useless to resist anymore! It's too late for grand gesture!
Too late for you, Secretary General!
No, please! Secure the area! Get to urgent message! Medical aid required immediately! Pocket 1 has suffered gunshot wounds to the body!
I am told that I shall survive.
Yes.
The nurse said that you sat with me.
You don't have to say anything. Better that you don't talk now.
I'd still like to show you my lake in Finland.
I'd like that. I always wanted to live by a lake.
Liar. Why would a young woman choose to come to a remote lake in Finland to live with an old man?
She would have to love him.
Do things like that happen?
So, I believe.
I am so tired.
Please, go to sleep.
We had to wait until they made a move. We did not know the membership of their organization until now. I regret that you were hurt.
Wainwright is broken. What did you do to him?
We did what had to be done. And you, Ricky, you are recovered?
I am becoming a little stronger every day.
And you will soon be a father.
How did you know that? I'm told that it will be a girl.
I am pleased for you. We have a saying at the birth of a new one. May it be strong to carry the burden of the parents' dreams. We shall not meet again, Ricky.
I had hoped that we could say goodbye, face to face.
It is too soon.
Will you ever reveal yourself?
It has been decided that we shall make ourselves known, but not until humans have grown used to our presence. In 50 years, a new generation will have grown to maturity. It will be easier, perhaps, for humans to accept us then. Your children will be less afraid of us, so their children will not inherit fear.
Why do you believe it will be so hard for us?
If you saw us now, you would not accept us. Who knows what damage could be done? We need your trust.
We cannot match your technology. We cannot harm you.
You might harm yourselves. That is what we fear.
50 years. I will be long dead.
I shall never forget you, Ricky. And the memory of an overlord is long.
Nor I, Carolyn.
Goodbye, human.
The sea is boiling, brother. I've lost another monitor.
Soon I shall no longer be able to speak with you. the structure of your planet is already beginning to affect our communication. We can still receive you. Please continue to tell us what you see.
Stormgren was your friend, wasn't he?
Yes, he was my friend.
We touched you, didn't we?
We did what we had to do.
Katerina and Stormgren. Yes, they are the story. And their child, Katya. Did she have something of her mother's gift? Katie used to tell me that her mother had second sight.
The daughter of Katerina has no gift as far as we were aware.
It's everyone's story. Katerina's and her daughter Katya. And Katya was the mother of Katie, my Katie. And Katie was the mother of Jeffrey, too. Something like an Old Testament prophet. Ronan, are you still there? Can you hear me? I was 12, sitting in our home in Edinburgh, watching events on TV, the day that you revealed yourselves, the day that humanity first saw an alien race.
Supervisor Karelin has confirmed that his ship will make its way to the central Australian desert within the next few days. Luther?
Television coverage will be shared between the BBC, the Asian TV network, and CBS. The coverage will, of course, be pooled with the other broadcasters.
Mark?
Well, despite our best efforts to control the crowds who are descending on Australia, we estimate that 10 million people will be present. The urge to actually be there is too strong. Kind of makes you proud to be an Australian.
First sight of an alien race, who can blame them?
What kind of sight can those at the back of the crowd expect?
Oh, well, 157 large screens are planned within the surrounding area.
And the children?
Oh, they'll just have to sit on their parents' shoulders.
I mean the children who will take part in the welcoming ceremony.
Yes, I know. I was just kidding. Sorry, Sir Ken.
100 children have been chosen, and they've undergone a whole battery of psychological testing to prepare them for the event.
Can anyone be prepared for such an event?
Well, they've been exposed to the weirdest images the psychologists could come up with. Not having any idea what Overlords actually look like, the psychologists have been working hard to make sure the kids won't be thrown when Karelin and his colleagues actually appear. Those kids they suspect couldn't cope have been weeded out.
I haven't seen my own daughter since she started the tests. Nothing ever seems to faze Katie.
I understand Karelin asked for her personally to be present?
As the granddaughter of Secretary General Stormgren, Karelin seemed particularly interested in her being there.
Very fitting, I think.
Are we done here today?
Oh, I think so.
Yes. Then I shall take my leave. Shall we reconvene in 2 days' time?
Sure.
I think so, yeah.
Good night, Sir Kenneth.
Good night, Sir Kenneth.
Good night.
We also have the strange tale of a Greek woman stalked by her former husband, and from Japan, the samurai revivalist who killed himself and 14 members of the family of the woman who refuses his advances. The human heart laid bare. First this week, to Verona, for the story of a real-life Romeo and Juliet.
Why do you watch that rubbish?
It is a popular program.
It's rubbish. To think that in the modern world people are so interested in petty little domestic disputes. It's pathetic.
Some people still take an interest in each other.
When you think of how life has changed since the Overlords came and we still make TV trash like that.
It's because of those things that people need TV programs like that.
Don't be stupid, Katya.
Passion reminds us we are human.
That's not passion, that's degrading. It's out of the gutter. Do you have to drink quite so much?
You drink?
Not to excess.
I had that dream
Put
again.
it out of your mind.
I try to.
You have that Russian trait of your mother's, a tendency to wallow in melancholy.
It frightens me.
It's a dream. It's nothing.
It was different this time.
Well, it's not the same dream then, is it?
I mean, there was more of it. I see our Katie walking towards a wall. Then the wall opens, and she is swallowed up.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, please let me talk about it. It's so frightening. She is with other children, and they all walk into this opening in the wall, and then this opening begins to close, and I can't reach her. And there are other people trying to reach their children, and they can't. The dream usually ends there, and that's bad enough. But this time the dream went on. All the adults waited for a long time, but we knew the children were not coming back. And then there are screams, and people turn on each other, and someone attacks me. This ceremony tomorrow.
What about it?
I don't want Katie to do it.
Supervisor Carellin has asked that Katie be present. I have no intention of snubbing the Overlord commander by refusing.
My mother had powers.
Oh, not that old story.
As a child, she was tested. She could read minds.
Your mother never claimed any special power.
She lost them as she grew older. My dreams are so real.
Oh, so now you're a visionary.
I'm frightened.
Everything frightens you, Clarke.
Katie was 10 that day. That was the first time I saw her on the television. A little girl amongst 10 million people waiting in the desert, watching the great screens which would relay the first news pictures. They waited for hours, watching your ship, a great disk of bronze reflecting the desert sun. What did we expect to see when you came out of the craft? What could we have expected?
Aide-moi cette. أنا الليلة سامي في
Aquí estamos todos en el desierto de Australia, esperando ver cómo.
Plus de 10 millions de personnes sont rassemblées ici dans le désert australien aujourd'hui pour attendre.
There's a carnival atmosphere, here and for many miles around the Overlord ship. That great disk which continues to hover miraculously just meters above the ground. The ceremonial welcome, as I understand it, will begin when we get some sign from the ship that Carellin and a number of his companions are ready to exit.
Yes. The granddaughter of the former Secretary General of the UN... hold on. I think something may be happening. Yeah? No, sorry, false alarm.
Well, the tension is, people are so keyed up here, and indeed everywhere. Is there anyone on the planet who's not watching this event on TV?
As I was saying, John, the granddaughter of the former UN Secretary General, Ricky Stonegren, young Katie Long, will walk forward from the gathered representatives of the UN.
Something is happening now. The door is opening at the underside of the Overlord craft. It's difficult to see inside. Oh, what a moment to witness. The children are stepping forward, led by young Katie Long. 100 children, each with a flower in their hands. A field of sunflowers moving towards the Overlord craft. A ramp is emerging from the opening towards the ground, and Katie is walking purposefully towards him. The other children behind her. And Katie is, well, she's walking straight up the ramp. The other children have stopped. They're looking at each other. I don't think anyone knows what to do now. Katie has gone into the craft. I'm not sure she was meant to go so far, but Well, yeah. I can see her mother holding on to Sir Kenneth. She's trying not to look concerned, but... Wait. Something is moving. Something is emerging from the craft. It's... My God.
We knew that our appearance would disturb humans.
Of course. When Satan himself flew from the craft, the long, elongated body, just human enough to make your appearance the more frightening by its difference. The thick armored scales, the horns, the eyes obscured by a visor to protect you from the sunlight, and those small leathery wings. You hung in the air and extended your arms, the image of a crucified Satan. Even then, the strangest thing was the children's reaction. It was the adults who fainted, collapsed, screamed. Katie, like the other children, simply looked up at you, hovering in the air, accepting, smiling.
You do not be afraid of us. You are no longer children to fear the dark, to fear what you do not understand. Take courage from your own children. This child is the granddaughter of my friend, Secretary General Stormgren. He trusted us blindly. Now you must continue to trust us in full sight of us. Today is a new dawn. We shall face the day together.
And so we grew up with you, and you became part of our lives. But still, you kept your deepest secrets. You remained an enigma to us, refusing to answer the basic question, why were you here? Why were you so concerned with us? You took an interest in us, in our cultures, in our philosophies, in everything that made us human. Your own tragedy you couldn't share with us.
We live without war, poverty, and disease. No desires go unfulfilled, no needs unsatisfied. And yet, look around you. Look at the faces of the people you see every day. Are people really happy?
James, we should be going.
Ask yourself, is this all? If you do, perhaps you're one of those people who should consider relocating to New Athens. New Athens is a self-regulating community. With the Overlords' consent, New Athens was founded 10 years ago on a Pacific atoll. We place the arts at the center of human activity. We think we live in a
Off. Is this a big party?
No, just a few college friends. Rupert's got the chair of eccentric phenomena at Harare. He's the youngest professor to hold the position.
Eccentric phenomena?
ESP, telepathy, telekinesis, that kind of thing.
Oh, I see.
Please don't be difficult.
A charlatan is a charlatan. It makes no odds that they carry the title of professor or not. Who else is going?
Rupert's wife, Maya. She was at college with me. And I think Sully's going to be there too. Mark O'Sullivan. He's a marine biologist. And Jan might be there too. Does that bother you?
Why should it? Let's go.
Dan Rodericks, you will be able to hear me no longer.
No. Don't leave me alone.
Continue to speak. We shall hear you.
No! My sister Maya had been married to Rupert for a year, and they were throwing a party now that he'd landed his new post. Sully was there too. Rare for him to spend any time on the surface. We used to say that Sully was half fish. I knew Katie would be there. That's why I accepted Maya's invitation. And because I wanted to meet George, her new husband, the artist. My Katie married.
Professor of Eccentric Phenomena. Thanks.
And no one, may I say, Rupe, has more qualifications than yourself for such a post. For you are surely the most credulous bastard I've ever known.
Credulous is a synonym for open-minded.
The only thing stranger than your belief in ESP and telepathy and all that nonsense is how someone as beautiful as Maya would marry you.
Perhaps it's all in my stars.
I hear you spend most of your time underwater.
That's right. 13 miles west of Easter Island, at a depth of 3 kilometers.
Best place for him. Keeps him out of the way of civilized people.
You live at that depth?
Oh, yeah. This is the first time I've been topside for nearly a year now.
Sully's been working closely with the Overlords.
I send them models of marine life. They tell me that it's for some museum back on their planet. I'm working on my biggest commission yet at the moment. A tableau of a giant squid and a blue whale in combat. What do you do, George?
I paint. Oh, well, no, actually, I teach. Those that can.
What's your opinion? Do you think there's been a decline in the arts since the Overlords arrived?
I think that's generally accepted. A lot of classical art was born out of struggle and conflict. The Overlords removed a lot of that from human life.
So where do you look for your inspiration?
If I was inspired, I'd be painting, not teaching.
You think Reshaverek's into art?
I don't think so.
Who?
The Overlords have no conception of it. They don't understand why human beings have this restless urge to create, to reshape the world. It's a bit of a blind spot in them.
Rupert's got a tame Overlord. He's upstairs in the library.
What? Here?
He's doing research.
Research into what?
I have some pretty rare books dating way back. Better than the university library, in fact. He's reading his way through it.
The only question is why.
I imagine they find it as fascinating as I do. You do know, George, that Katie's grandmother was a telepath?
According to who?
To whom? According to Dr. Valentina Ivanovna, a pioneer in my field.
His Katie mentioned it once. It's an old family story.
You know why I married George? Because he didn't ask me to believe in anything. That's why it didn't work out with me and Jan.
Jan can be oppressive.
He has such curiosity about the world, life, everything. It's wonderful, but...
It's wonderful as long as you share his obsessive enthusiasms.
I envy him. He's always searching. I've never known why I was alive. Life can seem so empty.
When I feel low, I go shopping. Now that Rupert's on a full professor's salary, I expect I shall get depressed more often.
George and I are thinking of applying to go to New Athens.
New Athens? They're cranks. They go about on bicycles. Be like living in a museum.
George thinks he might find some kind of inspiration there.
Hello.
Jan. Maya said you might come.
Darling brother.
How are you?
I'm well.
Hello, Katie. It's been a long time.
Yes.
I'm not standing here playing gooseberry. Why don't you two catch up?
Is your husband here?
Yes.
I hear he's an artist.
Yes.
This is a stimulating conversation. Still a lady of leisure?
Leisure is all anyone has. The Overlords have seen to that.
You still affect that melancholy pessimism, I see.
If you're going to be mean to me, I'm going.
Stay. Sorry.
You're not married, then?
No. You know how it is. You fall in love with someone completely unsuitable, they break your heart, you know that they're completely wrong for you, but you can't get them out of your head.
I am completely wrong for you. Can we just talk about something else?
Of course. Sorry. I meant to be cool, calm, pleasant.
Tell me what you're doing.
Well, I've just come back from the moon.
Was that exciting?
Seeing the Earth from space, it's the most amazing thing. It made me want to go further. But of course, the Overlords refuse to share the technology that drives their own ships, so That ambition will never be fulfilled.
The moon's not enough for you.
No, of course not. What's funny?
You haven't changed.
Rashavrak, are you joining us?
If I may.
Can I get you anything? A drink?
No, thank you. Alcohol affects us badly.
Us humans too. That's why we drink it.
Jan, George, I think you're the only two who haven't met Ambassador Rashavrak. Jan Rodricks, George Gregson.
I've never met an overlord face to belly.
I meet few humans.
Pleased to meet you.
I hear you're doing research. May I ask what your interest is in the paranormal?
Everything contributes to greater understanding.
Of us humans?
Of course.
Why do you want to?
Jan, it's bad manners to ask all these questions.
Do not underestimate how interesting you are as a species.
How flattering. How do we get to find out more about you?
We have already shared much knowledge with you.
Technical knowledge. We know virtually nothing about you. For instance, where you come from, what your home planet is like, how your society is structured.
Jan!
I'm sorry, am I being rude?
I am not offended by your questions, but I am not able to answer them. Forgive me if I am being rude.
My God, look at these.
Jan brought them. Horrible, dusty old things.
I haven't seen these things outside of a museum.
My father collected them.
How do they work?
On this.
Dad used to have one of those.
I managed to track one down in an antique shop. They're not cheap. It plays the discs. You put this needle into the grooves.
Primitive.
I like the sound.
Madam Gregson, may I join you?
Yes, of course.
You find my presence unsettling.
I'm just not used to being so close to an overlord.
I understand.
We call you overlords, but what do you call yourselves?
We call ourselves the... It translates many ways. The ones who bring forth. It also means ones who serve.
Servant people? That's strange, considering your powers.
Yes, it must seem so to you. May I ask you a question?
Of course.
Your grandmother, Katerina, did you know her?
I remember meeting her as a child. She lived in Finland even after my grandfather died.
How did she seem to you?
I was always a little frightened of her. She had very blue eyes. When she looked at me, I always thought she knew what I was thinking.
Interesting.
Why are you so curious about my grandmother?
You know that she underwent tests as a child. She may have been a telepath.
Oh, yes, that story has always been told in the family. That's probably why I thought she could read my mind. But telepathy has never been proven. Are you saying that it's real? You're not a telepath.
No, we do not possess that ability.
You hardly need to. Your technology allows you to do so much.
Yes.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Ruth.
It'll be fun. Come on.
Oh, what do you call this?
A Ouija board. I had it made for me in a market in a small village in the Moroccan Atlas.
My father used to do that kind of thing on stage. Give the audience some specious story about having learnt his tricks from an old man in an oriental monastery.
I'm not falling for that old tad, Ruth.
It'll only work if you keep an open mind.
Well, it's doomed to failure then.
I'll give it a shot.
There speaks the artist.
Come on, Katie.
No, I'm sitting this out.
It's just a game.
I don't like this kind of thing.
That's because you sense some power in it. Rashavrak, will you join us?
I shall watch with interest.
Okay. How it works is this. We all put one finger on this glass in the middle and empty our minds.
Some will find that easier than others. Then what?
We don't know. We wait and see. If we make contact...
Make contact with what?
The power.
The power.
Then the glass will move around the board and spell out a message for us by moving to one of these letters or numbers around the edge of the board. I shall prompt it by asking a question.
Shall I change the music?
No. Leave it. It's quite atmospheric.
Atmosphere is everything.
As Dad used to say.
Your father would have treated the Ouija board with respect.
Dad was an illusionist.
So was Ruth. Quiet, everyone. Now, clear your minds. Put your scepticism to one side. I have a question.
So do I.
Quiet! I have a question. Will it rain tomorrow?
What?
Y E D.
A dyslexic Ouija board.
Maybe it hath a cod.
N O.
It's saying it doesn't know if it will rain?
It's saying it's a stupid question.
Someone is manipulating the glass.
I don't think so.
I've got a question. What is my favourite colour?
It doesn't know.
Wait! B L U E. Is that right?
Rupert, you did that.
I didn't move it. And I don't even know what her favourite colour is.
Is your favourite colour blue?
Why don't you know what my favourite colour is?
I can't be expected to know everything about you, darling.
I'm rather disappointed you didn't know that.
Now. Leave the bickering until we've all gone home.
I have a question.
Oh, Jan. Surely you don't believe in all this nonsense.
Which star does the Overlord planet orbit?
I G S 5 4 9 6 7 2. What does that mean?
Katie? Katie! What did you make of the message?
Oh, I don't know.
Does it make you less sceptical?
That's probably a coincidence. Rashavarak didn't react.
How can you tell? There's no expression on those hellish features.
Are you going to check it out?
Of course. IGS 549672. It could be a star number from the International Geographic Survey.
Let me know what you find.
You're pregnant. That's wonderful. Isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it really is wonderful.
You look so well. You know, I had a feeling when you came to the party.
I didn't know then.
Aren't you happy?
I feel for the first time in my life that I have a real reason for being on this planet.
You don't sound it. I envy you.
Oh, it will happen for you and Rupert.
Well, we keep trying.
I have some more news. George and I have been accepted to live on New Athens.
Are you sure about this?
More than ever. Ever since I found out that I was pregnant, I've had this feeling of apprehension.
Oh, Katie.
No, I'm really thrilled about the baby. But I've been having these dreams.
What kind of dreams?
I couldn't describe them. I forget them as soon as I wake up. But I'm always left with this sense of desolation. Maybe New Athens is far enough away.
I have completed scanning Rupert Boyce's collection. It is a most tedious task. Human beings have an almost infinite capacity for self-deception.
Have you found anything positive?
No current cases of telepathy. The last cluster was more than a generation ago.
We have seen this before. An outbreak, then nothing for a generation before re-emergence.
Yesterday I was introduced to the granddaughter of Katerina Golyadkin. During a game, it was clear that there was a presence manipulating events.
You think this woman has any of her grandmother's abilities?
Perhaps the woman, perhaps the child she carries. Yet the child is barely conceived.
Both the woman and the child must be monitored. Now we can only watch and help them through this time.
If the great change has begun, how will humans react?
As other races have, with confusion at first, perhaps violence, but in the end they will learn that they cannot prevent their destiny.
5,000 fathoms. 5,010. 5,020. Angelfish to sea urchin, come in, sea urchin.
Sea urchin to angelfish, you're clear to dock at 2100 hours, Mark.
2100, Mark. Right on time.
Welcome to the depths of the Pacific.
What a journey!
You didn't find it too claustrophobic? Some people can't hack it.
No, the descent was fascinating. We saw a giant squid on the way down.
Ah, that's Lucifer.
Lucifer, right.
He's the model for my latest commission.
Yes, I want to see that.
It's the biggest one we've done yet. Giant squid and blue whale in a fight to the death. I've never had the privilege of witnessing such an event myself, so I'm having to use my imagination. They'll be moulded in a new plastic that the Overlords have licensed us to develop.
Why do the Overlords want these models, do you think?
Oh, they tell me they have a vast museum back on their home planet. God knows what they must have on display there from other planets they've visited. Well, it just goes to show that the urge to collect things is truly universal. So, are you going to tell me?
I suppose it's safe here. I couldn't tell you on the comm link. You never know what the Overlords are monitoring. I checked in the star catalogue. IGS 549672 is a binary star at the heart of the Carina system, older than our own sun.
And you think it's the home of the Overlords?
Yes.
Well, you can't be sure of that. Well, it might be a coincidence, considering the medium of communication.
I intend to try and find out.
But how? Well, they won't confirm it. They never answer questions about themselves.
I'm going to go there.
Now, I'm a marine biologist, not an astronomer. But I suspect that this star isn't exactly just around the corner.
It's about 40 light years.
You're going to ask them to give you a ride there?
In a way, yes.
And why should they do that?
I don't think they would if I asked them. There's only one way. I'd have to stow away on one of their supply ships. The one taking your latest tableau, for instance.
Stowaway?
Yes.
I see.
I was thinking that I might do a Jonah, travel in the belly of a whale.
In the belly of my whale?
I've made some rough drawings. If you could incorporate a small, self-contained cabin inside the blue whale's body.
Whoa!
Look, technically, I don't see much difficulty. Whatever propulsion system the Overlords use, it clearly allows for transportation of your models to their planet without them being crushed by the propulsive forces. It stands to reason, therefore, that I could survive within one of them.
But you don't know how long it would take. How long you'd have to survive in one of their ships.
From what little we do know, and having observed their supply ships coming and going over the years, about 3 months, I reckon. I'm going to knock myself out with narcosamine. The only thing is that I shall probably be travelling at speeds where I shall age less quickly than people back on Earth.
Well, by the time you get back, assuming that the Overlords bring you back, your friends and family will all be long dead.
When sailors used to leave on voyages around the world, they never knew when they'd be back or what would be waiting for them. I know what I'm asking you. When the Overlords find out that you helped me... You're a scientist as I am. You understand my curiosity. I'll understand if you refuse.
You've obviously thought this through.
I want to see where they come from. I want to see an alien world. You have yours down here under the sea.
At least I have shipmates. You'll be alone.
We're all alone.
Let me have a look at those drawings.
When the time came to enter into the mouth of Sully's whale, I felt only excitement. I saw tears in Sully's sentimental Irish eyes when he saw me off.
Corellan! What I did, it was my decision. He didn't deserve to be punished. Thank God I won't have to live with the guilt of that for much longer. When I woke up, I discovered that I'd been asleep for 2.5 months. I left the belly of Sullivan's Whale and found myself in a cargo hold. It took me hours to find the control room of the ship, manned by 3 pilots. I now know how Overlords look when they're surprised. Not much different. Eventually, they showed me to a room where I was to spend the rest of the trip. But they allowed me out to watch them land on your planet. A great red ball, studded with the lights of your cities. Your home, Corellan.
I am Vince.
Jan Rodrigues.
Yes. I am to be with you during your stay.
I see. Will I be allowed outside?
Yes.
Corellan, you denied this site of your home to any other human being. Then, I knew why. The air was full of demons. Some at rest, hovering, their leathery wings beating a slow rhythm. Others flew across the vast city, a city without buildings. Great towers, like the nests of termites, stretching into the sky, some reaching into the cloud line. And from those towers, other demons emerged from huge openings. It was a scene that would have taxed the imagination of a medieval painter trying to portray hell. Do you have many such cities here on this planet?
Many?
What are they all doing? So much activity.
Each has a purpose.
Yes, but what? Will you show me more of your planet?
If you like, I can carry you. Do not be afraid.
I saw caravans of small craft making their way across seas of red dust, suddenly disappearing into great dunes. Above me, 2 moons, making a slow transit across a violet sky, double eclipsing the pale red sun once every day. And all around, the hovering demons, overlords asleep in the sky, now and again suddenly waking and moving off to some distant tower. And inside the towers, huge caverns, glimpses of forms which could be animal or machine. Everything here was a mystery, and Vindarton answered few questions, as if any explanation was useless to my inferior brain. I felt disorientated. It was difficult to breathe. There was nothing there I recognized. I began to panic. I kept expecting to see human souls being tortured, but there were only demons on my guided tour of hell. I clung to Vindarton, hundreds of meters above the surface of that terrible place. The touch of his harsh skin began to nauseate me. His wings beating above my head. No! No! No!
You are fatigued, human. Are you rested?
Yes, thank you.
You have turned away from your right destiny to come here. This disturbs you. You must return home.
Yes.
A ship returns to Earth soon.
Vindarten,
Yes.
what will I find when I return to Earth?
I can offer you no comfort, human. Home.
Jan Rodrigues. I am Supervisor Karelin.
I hope you will forgive my actions.
It was human.
Where is this?
This was New Athens.
New Athens? It's nothing but ruins. Where is everyone? What happened here? Did the colony fail?
We have established a monitoring station here.
Monitoring what?
There have been many changes on Earth since you left. This recording is for you. It was made by Katie Long. Her words will tell you what has happened. This house is at your disposal. Our equipment is automatic.
What equipment? Karelin!
We shall speak again.
What's happened?
Jan, I've recorded this letter and left it for Overlord Ambassador Tantalaresco. You will receive it when you return. I shall be dead by then. I can't bear the thought of you alone. I want to talk to you so much. I miss you, Jan. So far away across the galaxy. How could you be so far away? George and I left for New Athens shortly after you stowed away on the Overlord ship. I was pregnant. I was excited. Yes, me. But it won't surprise you to hear that even in my happiness there was something not right. A feeling, a dread. But life on New Athens was peaceful. And Geoffrey, my son, was a normal little boy. I almost forgot to be afraid. When he was 9, I had another child, Kate.
Little darling, Kate. Yes, you are, a little darling. Geoffrey! Careful! She's gorgeous. Oh, it really is a paradise here.
I feel safe here.
Safe from what?
I don't know. When I was pregnant with Geoffrey, I felt uneasy about something. Perhaps it's a natural instinct. I'm sorry. It's thoughtless of me talking like this.
Don't worry. I've got used to the fact I can't have children. Or as much as you do get used to such things.
How is Rupert?
Becoming more the eminent professor every day. Rupert's one of those people who are born old. I think he's relieved. Children would just have got in the way of his career. I don't know if I still love him. Is that terrible?
No.
How is George?
George has never got over the fact that he isn't a great painter. He can't forgive himself. Just recently he's become more distant. I think it's got something to do with Geoffrey. I want to show you something. Look at these.
Wow. These are some of the best things George has done. What are they? Fantasy landscapes?
George didn't do them. Geoffrey did.
But Geoffrey's only 9.
Yes. Oh, these are better than anything George could ever do. You see, Geoffrey's a talented artist. Maybe a genius. Everything his father ever wanted to be. George is jealous of him.
Quite a setup here, isn't it? I mean, It's impressive. Everyone seems very laid back.
What did you expect?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose I expected a colony dedicated to art to be full of troubled souls.
We have our share of troubled souls.
I should have come before. You know what it's like, pressure of work. The women are very,
It's the tropical sun. Healthy diet.
Is it true about the,
Yeah, sexual freedom is one of the traditions that's grown up here. If that's what you're getting at.
For the women as well as the men?
Of course.
So, do you and Katie?
Katie doesn't. As far as I know. She spends all her time with the kids.
But you?
When it's on offer, it's not as exciting.
I find that hard to believe.
Do you know why I came here? I thought maybe here, away from much of the Overlord influence, I could feel life more keenly. I thought that's what you have to paint, to produce anything of value. Instead, I feel as dead here as I did before.
What's that?
The local news broadcast. On?
It has just been announced that an Overlord representative with the full title of Ambassador will arrive on New Athens within the next few days. Ambassador Fantalaresco will remain in the colony for 1 week to observe life here. News of the outside world now. In the Siberian Republic, a mass grave has been discovered containing the bodies of nearly 50 children. The authorities have declared that...
Oh. What's that all about?
Strange, isn't it? It's not the only outbreak of child murder recently. There was a spate of children being killed in South
this
Africa.
Visit from an Overlord ambassador.
It's terrible, isn't it? These murders.
I saw one of the parents who murdered their child in the Johannesburg killings. He was interviewed on TV. He said he was frightened of his child. Oh, he wouldn't say why. He talked about witchcraft.
In this day and age.
Rupert has a theory it's a kind of psychosis.
Isn't that a word that academics use when they've got no idea what's going on?
We didn't know then what the child murders meant. It was a story from the outside world. It didn't seem to have any relevance to us. But they touched me. Those terrible crimes. And the visit of the Overlord ambassador, too, was strange. Why now? Before the ambassador came, we had another visitor. Sully. He wasn't the man you left behind. The Overlords had punished him, banning him from his lab on the seabed.
Karelen, why did you punish him? Children never understand parents, do they?
Sully had promised to take Geoffrey diving when he was old enough. I watched them set off. I wasn't worried. I trusted Sully more than anyone.
Now, you stay close to me at all times, you understand?
Uh-huh.
Remember what I told you. Underwater, you take everything nice and easy so you conserve energy. Now, there's a communicator built into the mask so we can talk to each other, you see? Right. Let's put the masks on now.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can hear you.
And I can hear you fine. Okay, buddy.
Okay.
Okay. Now, we just roll off like I taught you. Let me go first. Okay. In you go. You okay?
Yeah.
Now we check the signal. You ready? And let the air out of our PCDs. Whoa. Take nice, easy breaths. And down we go.
That was the day I lost my son. When I watched him leave with Sully for the beach, he was still my little boy. Oh, Jan. You can't know what it's like. sirens went at 3:30.
On.
This is an emergency broadcast. Pacific Sea Watch report an earthquake in Northern California measuring 6.5 on the Richter scale. This is expected to result in a tsunami which will reach New Athens and neighboring islands within 20 minutes. The tidal wave will affect all areas of the island lying up to 30 meters above present sea level.
Oh, God.
Evacuation of those areas will commence.
How you doing, buddy?
Can we go over that way?
Well, check your SPG like I taught you.
I have half my tank left.
Okay. Another 10 minutes, and then we'll surface.
Jeffrey, you must go towards the cave. Go towards the cave.
Jeff? Where are you going? Jeff?
Down, Jeffrey. A little further.
I don't want you diving that deep.
Now swim alongside the coral for 3 meters. Now up, through the gap, quickly.
Jeff! Don't ever do that again when you dive with me.
We have to go up further.
You do as I tell you. What?
The voice is telling me to go up here. It's safer.
Jeff, what are you talking about?
Hurry, Uncle Sully.
What's going on?
Get out of the water. It's all being sucked out.
Where the hell's the water going?
We'll be all right up here.
My God!
Up here. Put your mask on.
The voice told me we'd be safe here.
He was talking about a voice.
What voice?
He said someone was speaking to him, telling him what to do. He couldn't have known about that cave. It's only accessible from under the coral.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Thank you, Sully.
I know. Jeffrey saved my life.
How's little Kate?
Asleep?
Kid sleeps all the time. Nothing disturbs her. Have you noticed something?
What?
None of the children are crying. None of them.
Ambassador Tantalaresco, allow me to welcome you to New Athens. We are a colony dedicated to the human arts. And the arts have always been, throughout human history...
She never cries.
No. She's a happy baby.
All babies cry.
What are you getting at?
It's not right. Katie, there's something wrong.
I don't want to talk about it.
Maybe we should have her examined.
Why? She's not ill.
She doesn't cry. Ever.
She doesn't need to. I'm a good mother.
Yes, I know that. And Jeffrey's been very quiet. Ever since that day he went diving.
He had a scare.
Oh, he doesn't look like a kid who's had a scare.
He's fine.
He's not fine. All he does is paint.
Is this because he paints better than you?
I'm worried. He scares me.
You always were jealous of him.
This isn't about me. And she scares me.
Oh, our baby scares you.
Will you put that bloody rattle down?
Oh.
Katie! At the School of Fine Art, we run classes for gifted children. This is one of the studios. Jeffrey, I want you to meet Ambassador Tantalaresco.
Good morning, Jeffrey. I am very happy to meet you.
You're the voice.
Are these your paintings?
What did you say?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Yes, Jeffrey likes to paint landscapes, but he gives them an abstract twist. These are landscapes of the imagination.
They're real. Real places.
Oh, of course, they're real to you, Jeff.
They're real.
May I see any others that you have done?
Over here.
The child is advancing at an astonishing rate. He manufactures paintings demonstrating techniques associated with some of their greatest artists.
And the subject matter?
One, a sky with a blue sun, distant mountains sulphur-colored. I have visited the planet myself.
And you can identify this planet?
Hexanorax. Only our most extended expeditionary ships have reached it.
The great change is underway.
I pity them, these humans.
I have sometimes hoped that the change would not come, that they would be spared.
We are the servants only.
They think themselves inferior to us. How wrong they are. How magnificent the human destiny, how barren our own.
Stop it!
Mummy?
Katie.
Oh, my darling, I'm sorry. Geoffrey!
Katie.
Why won't you let me hold him?
Katie, they don't need us. They don't need us anymore.
I'm afraid of him. I'm afraid of my own child. And Kate. I'm frightened to go into the nursery. What's happening?
Jan. They took the children. All the children. All the children.
Recent events demonstrate that children are at risk from their parents and adults who do not understand the changes that are taking place in your species. We have no choice but to isolate all children under the age of 10 years.
Poor Katie.
Thank God we never had children.
The great change has begun. This is why we came here many years ago, to keep watch. Without the peace that we have overseen, your species would have channeled these new developments into war. This new stage in the evolution of your species would have become destructive. You would have sought different ends for these pilots.
I've played the wild rover for many a year.
Species like yourself undergo the great change.
And I've spent all my money on whiskey and beer.
Some we have arrived too late to help, and they have become extinct. Some species, despite their highly evolved intelligence, never make the great change and remain in stasis, lacking the ability to evolve further. That is the tragedy of my own people. Your race is one of the fortunate to make the leap. Only your children will fully understand. Eventually, they will shed their material bodies. Their minds will meld together into one.
I can't bear it.
Become more powerful than
I can't bear it.
as you know it, without children.
It's just us now, Katie.
Oh, no.
Comfort in the knowledge that
We have to care for each other.
immortal. Now, we must occupy ourselves with your children who will be evacuated to the continent of Africa, where they will be monitored and cared for free of adults. Do not grieve for them. They are your legacy to the universe. Be proud of your achievement, humans. That is all.
One day, the Overlord ship arrived, and the children, as if they knew what they had to do, made their way down to the beach. They walked on board the ship without looking back at the parents gathered there. There was no future for us. No
future for anyone. Women no longer conceived. Suddenly, every human being faced the inevitable death of the species. Each of us had to find our way.
I went to an alehouse I used to frequent, and I told the landlady me money was spent.
Sullivan, is that you?
I asked her, it is me, it is I, Marco Sullivan.
Sully, you shouldn't be there.
I asked
You're going
her
too deep. The submersible will
She
clog up.
answered me, oh yes, it is beginning to.
Sully! Sullivan showed me the way. He gave me courage. I haven't told George. I can't stand being with him. I shall go to the beach and swim out in the water until I can swim no further. Loneliness is what makes us human, Jan. That's what I've learned. Our children will never be lonely again. But they will never be human either. This is my way. Goodbye, Jan. I hope you get this one day. I did love you.
The children move as one. Look on the monitors, Jan. 500 million of them. We call this the long dance. It began several years ago and continues without end.
What is happening?
They are becoming one. We have seen this before. Soon they will have no need of their material bodies. I have no comfort for you, Jan Rodrigues. You are the last adult human. Already your planet is undergoing changes and will become unstable within a few days. Will you render us a service?
How can I help you?
Record the end for us. From here, you may witness the last days of the Earth. Will you render us this service?
Yes. And I have a favor to ask of you.
This is a primitive thing.
Yes, I'm being sentimental.
I think I understand. There is a connection to your father.
Perhaps it's that. This is all I have now of the past.
I must leave now.
Goodbye, Reshavrak.
Goodbye, Jan Rodrigues. I envy you, human. Your species will find rest now. For us, there is no rest. Only the endless voyage.
Karellan! Something's happening! The stars in the night sky are getting dimmer. As if there's a great cloud. No, there's a structure. Almost as if the stars are tangled in a ghostly web. In places it seems almost solid. Oh my... The sky is alive with color. It's like a great aurora. It's brighter than day. My weight's decreasing. The atmosphere's escaping. The building around me, I can see through it. The light from beneath me. This is it. This is the end. This is magnificent. The children are taking the energy out of the world. It's feeding the change. The bodies of the children are falling all around. They don't need them anymore. This is the end. This is the end. Goodbye, Corellan! Thank you!
Goodbye, human.
Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End was dramatized by Tony Mulholland. Stephen Pacey was Jan, and Peter Jeffrey, Corellan. Sarah Jane Home was Katie, Christian Rotzka, George, and Suzanne Hitchmo, Maya. James Richards was Geoffrey, Gerard McDermott, Sullivan, and Cornelius Garrett, Rupert. Kim Durham was Vindarton, Graham Padden, Taltalaresco, and Sonny Ormond, Rashavarak. The music was composed and performed by Jeff Mearns. Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End was directed at Pebble Mill by Brian Lighthill.